Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today. Kevin is the CEO of Project Vanguard, and we're here to chat for a few minutes about his work and what's going on in the industry. Thanks for being here today, Kevin.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Give me like the 30 seconds on what Project Vanguard does.
Project Vanguard is the community of veterans in clean energy. So we run state chapters across 10 states right now. You can learn more at projectvanguard.com. And so we've pulled together all the veterans that work in the industry. 10% of the clean energy workforce are veterans. And so we bring those folks together so they can just kind of build a community, help each other. And then we help other veterans that are interested in getting into the industry find a faster pathway in, and then build awareness campaigns so that transitioning service members and veterans that maybe don't know anything about energy can find out.
That's awesome. What I know a lot of the work that you do is advocacy.
Hmm.
The messaging around the energy transition has changed, and it's very much in the news right now. With the federal budget bill, we're talking a lot about the energy transition. How have you seen the messaging around advocacy change in your work at Project Vanguard?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm in Houston. I owned an oil and gas company for a decade after I got out of the Army. Um, I've always had an all the above strategy with energy. We don't build wind turbines without a diesel crane supported by 23 truckloads of 18 wheelers. So, I'm totally fine with oil and gas. I've loved oil and gas. It's great, but I like being in the highest growth segment of the energy industry. So, I don't feel like my narrative has changed, but definitely under the current administration, there's been a shift away from the net zero narrative and more to the economics, which has always been true of renewable energy, the energy independence, the energy security. My tagline for the past, 5 years has always been energy security is national security. So I feel like the goalposts have moved in a good way. And so if there's a change of administration in a few years, I would hope that we don't abandon this more pragmatic approach because we sold everybody on the net zero and climate change that's their driving force. Great, fantastic. I'm in that camp, but not everybody is, and that's fine. And there's so many benefits to this. We don't need to have one talking point about this industry. We need to sell to people what matters to them, not what matters to us. And what matters to most people in America is jobs. They don't care about a hole in the ozone layer if there's a hole in their roof. So if people are living paycheck to paycheck, don't talk to them about the seas boiling in 30 years. Talk to them about this great job that you can make in six figures within 2 years without a college degree.
Hmm.
These are the great talking points that we have. So our messaging, I think, is getting better. And I'm seeing the industry firm up, step up. There's more resources. 90% of everything going onto the grid now is renewable because of the speed to market, because of the economics behind these projects in local communities. So I'm really excited about where we're going right now.
Okay. Well, the where we're going right now has been in the news a lot lately with the federal budget bill that just passed. We're recording this on July 9th. It just passed on July 4th. And there's a lot of negativity around the future of climate or of the energy transition based on what happened in the federal budget bill. So what are from your perspective and your work with veterans and your messaging, what are your thoughts on it?
I think a level playing field is great. I think that eventually wind and solar needed to get off of the subsidy train. But I would also say that so does oil and gas. Trust me, I've worked in oil and gas for a long time. There are tons of subsidies for oil and gas. They're just called tax code, and they're not renewed every 3 to 5 years. So they don't get debated. But I mean, they're the LIFO, FIFO stuff. There's $1 billion subsidy for oil and gas in that bill. So I don't have a problem with oil and gas being subsidized. It's a cost that we're socialized for everybody. If energy is only 5% of GDP, which it is in America, it's the first 5%. So, if we don't have energy, we don't have anything else. We don't have cloud servers. We don't have your apps. We don't have anything. So, I think it's really important that we support all sectors of energy. Uh, But what happened in the bill was just whiplash. We need to have certainty as a business owner, being able to know where you can put your money and be invested and having the certainty. When the administration tried to cancel the Empire Wind project, the offshore wind project in the East Coast, I mean, we don't want administrations canceling projects that are legally complete. Like, what is a Democratic, administration going to do to oil and gas projects. Like, I don't want to see that happen. Like,
Mhm.
once we've made investments, we should honor those investments. That's always been the certainty of working with America as a trusted partner globally. And domestically, we should honor that. So the whiplash in the bill, the back and forth on the cliff of the tax credits. I know chief development officers at big companies are like, listen, that's fine. Like, you want to end it? That's fine. There's better sources of capital out there. It's not easy to do these projects financed this way. There's better ways to do it. So let us do it that way. And I think in the long term, we'll be all right. In the short term, it's going to really hamper the bottom end of a lot of development pipelines. But we're going to come out faster to market, faster to develop projects. And so
Mhm.
while it's not great by any means, luckily battery was spared all of this. And there's a lot of talk of how battery is now being seen not as a EV mandate initiative, but as a DoD, national security initiative, especially as you see the proliferation of drones in Ukraine and the war being fought there, and a lot of different places where energy storage is critical to our national security posture.
Mhm. Yeah. So you mentioned in the long term we'll probably be okay. What are some short-term opportunities, you think? Is there
I
any
think,
positive, is there any silver lining? Is there any positive opportunities here out of this budget bill?
yeah, I mean, I think if you're in residential, like, that's been an inflated market for a while. Anytime there's a bro culture, there's a whole solar bro culture. Anytime there's a finance bro, a tech bro, there's some market inefficiencies happening for there to be a bro culture. So anytime I saw a solar bro, social media, anything like that, I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And it's been talked about. Residential solar in the US was like 3x what it is in installed cost compared to Australia, right? Like, we have greater market efficiencies here. We shouldn't have that happening. So I think that that's going to be really detrimental in the short term. But I have solar in my house. I love it. Some of my neighbors don't feel so great when the lights go out and I'm the only house on in the neighborhood. But our grid goes down a lot here in Houston, and having batteries and solar is a great thing. And we always invite them in. I'm like, come charge your phones. Don't worry about it. So I
Good
think the
neighbor.
residential side is going to be hit, but the utility scale battery is going to really do well following this.
Okay.
And this is the decade of battery anyway.
It is. That's right. Thank you so much. Appreciate your insights. I'm going to end on a final sprinkle of joy because there's a lot of negativity out there, and I want to hear from my guests on something that brings them joy. So, Kevin, what is something even something small that brings you joy on a daily basis?
Yeah, so my kids are 5, 6, and 10. And so while I have a bunch of drawings behind me, the ones that they keep are the Bluey drawings that I freehand and draw for them. And then they like to color them in and take a
Now,
lot of around the house.
can you frame anything else or just Bluey?
No, I could never draw you a sunset or an apple on a table, but if you want to have Bingo and Bluey playing Keepy Uppy together, I'm your man.
You're the guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, Project Vanguard, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it and look forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Robin.